I wanted zero to do with the storage units in 2016, absolutely nothing. And Josh brought them to my attention to turn $0 into $1 million plus in 30 months. What we're looking for right now is we are looking for other accredited investors who want to invest with us. The minimum is $50,000. We do have private placement memorandum, operating agreement, subscription agreement all set and ready for people that do want to review those and potentially look at going in on the deals with us. How'd that whole conversation go? How'd you even find this?
They were listed at our office, and they saw what you were doing. I was like, we got somebody that might be interested. You kind of shot my ego down when you said no. What a good sale for me.
I wanted nothing to do with that. I was like apartments. I still own apartments. But so I hit up Josh and I'm like, dude, let's go look at these storage units. And it was like the next day or something. We went up there and we saw how much opportunity there was. Really, there was a lot of empty ones. There was
a lot of money left on the table.
A ton of money left on the table. It was run disorganized. It wasn't being ran correctly. Nothing was being tracked. It really didn't even have rent rolls.
Literally written on a piece of paper.
Yep.
Everything was
kind of just unfolded it all. And like, okay, there's a huge opportunity here. And I think that it was listed for like 1.5. These are the ones up in Edgerton, so not the ones we're standing at here, but they're listed for like 1.5-ish.
Yeah.
And so I think right on the spot that day, I'd asked the seller, I'm like, hey, because I had some money that I was going to put into another investment, so I didn't want to put any money into the storage units. And so right out of the gates, I asked the seller, like, would you hold part of the mortgage? So basically we'd get, part of the financing from the bank. He would finance part of it. We had to come up with $60,000. And Josh knew somebody that had $60,000.
Grandma C.
Grandma Connie put in $60,000. And so we had 5% down, the seller held 20%, and then a bank financed 75%. And they really just, Dan Carey and McFarland State Bank really just believed in us to be able to run the property. They kind of took a risk because if I was them looking at it with how much of a mess it was there's no documentation. So if I was them looking to give 2 kids a loan on this deal, I would have been kind of reserved it as well, looking back on it.
Literally 2 kids.
Still
are.
But, we were able to market the property before closing. So we got a 4,000 square foot shop filled before we closed. We got other storage units filled. And the day that we closed, we basically walked. The seller paid us $10,000 at the closing table for putting the whole deal together. We negotiated that, and Josh and I split that. So we had $0 into it, and the sale now with these ones, we're gonna basically turn $0 into over $1 million when you look at the distributions it paid off through the life that we've had it, which is 30 months. We turned $0 into $1 million plus in 30 months.
Someone reached out to me yesterday on Instagram and they said, or how do you find people to kind of believe in your projects and everything? And I think this is like a huge showcase of that. And just from what we started with to how we're finishing this project, it's just very cool to look back the past 2.5 years that we've owned these.
We were super conservative putting the projections together early on. I remember the last couple of days before before the contingency was up to basically do the due diligence and stuff. We were like, all right, what's the worst thing that could happen, and what's basically like at this purchase price, how bad could it perform and we still make it? And we were looking at all that stuff, and then we just realized it was a no-brainer. And then what actually happened is we ended up hitting like year 4, year 5 projections in like year 1, basically, halfway through year 1.
But that's the benefit of just being super conservative in your due diligence.
Yep.
I guess today is like, it's a testament to kind of all the hard work and everything that we've done. Like those stories, you might not like doing it at the time, but days like today are what really make it worth it.
Yeah, because with distributions, that means we made $1 million off this deal. Then you're gonna take off. We're gonna roll like 650,000-ish into the next deal via 1031 exchange, which is some apartments and stuff we've already identified. We're gonna end up having to pay. We are taking some money off the table too that are gonna go out to the shareholders. So we'll have to pay like, I can't remember, it's like $150,000 to $200,000 in capital gains tax, and then we'll walk with $140,000 to take off the table, and we have some other debts and stuff that we're going to pay off with it in our holding company, and that, and then you and Grandma Connie will get to walk with $20,000 each, ballpark.
I feel like everything's for sale, obviously for the right price. For us, it just made sense that our money that that we're making off this deal and putting into other deals, it's gonna work 10 times harder than and don't get me wrong, like, this is a great deal. Like, these have been
Even
doing very well, but
it's been a great deal for us and for the guys that are buying them still, because there's still a lot left on the table. But the way that we looked at it was, really, we had zero of our own money in. We had $60,000 of an investor's money in the deal, and we bought it at the floor, and we took it up a couple notches, and we look at how much equity is in the deal and the return that we're getting on that equity, and it's good in this deal, but because we raised the value in it, we could actually take all that equity that we're going to realize in cash and stuff like that. We could take all that equity, put it into another deal that's at the floor, or multiple deals is what we're going to do, multiple deals that are at the floor, and once again raise that value so that equity is going to be working hard. It's going to be paying off, that equity to work in the other 3 deals is going to be paying off more debt each month, which is building our equity, our net worth, our investors' worth, and it's going to also pay off more in monthly distributions as well within 60 days, let alone like a year and a half from now when those initial distributions are doubled. Yeah, it's going to be working. So when you look at the return on it, we really sat down and we looked at the return on equity for like 2 hours that day when we first had someone that was serious about buying this thing. And we were like, this is like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Cash flows, so the big thing that we look for in the storage units or apartments or any property we're looking at buying is that cash flows from day one. Like, once
value add.
There's got to be some value add.
And I know with storage units, there's not a whole lot of, like, I guess, improvements to the property you can make, but the rents,
Get
if
them
you
to
notice,
market.
yeah, if you get the rents up to market, that's
Filling
like the biggest
vacancies.
thing. Yeah. And I feel like we did a great job marketing.
Charging late fees.
Yeah.
Staying on top of all that stuff.
Yeah.
'Cause
Running it like a business.
Yep.
And that's, the first units we bought, I feel like we took advantage of that because the previous owner didn't really run it like a business. I think we've talked about that, quite a bit, and we saw that opportunity. So that was a big thing for us. Yeah.
And a lot of times value add, just in real estate in general, people are just thinking like cosmetics or fixing up a kitchen or whatever it might be, or adding security on a storage unit site, whatever it might be. But our definition of value add is sometimes, like, we got
Those
a property.
rents up, baby.
Yeah, we got a property right now that's 96 apartments, and it's going to be the least intensive form of value add that we've ever been a part of, from the standpoint of, like, there's not a lot of cosmetic upgrades that we have to do with the property. It's a matter of literally going in and literally
Raising rents.
Yeah, so just because we own the property, it's going to be worth more because we know what the market rents are and should be, and we're going to get them up to that point and realize that. And so that's a form of value add, as well as the actual cosmetics of the property and all that stuff, and then just the management, efficiently managing it correctly and financing it correctly. I mean, that's all value add, and having a game plan going into it. So all that stuff. That's what we look for in any type of investment, really. Yeah, and then the deals that we got coming up, so basically we're taking all this money, and I've been telling people right now, like, I'll have $50,000 to $150,000 personally in, and then on top of it, from this transaction, we'll have another $600,000 to $650,000 into those deals. And really what they are is 96 apartment units in Janesville. We've got 60 units in Madison and potentially another 60 units in the area here. And we got, so the two are under contract right now, the Madison one and the Janesville one, they're under contract. We should be closing on those in 45 to 65, 70 days. So we're looking at like early June. And what we're looking for right now is we are looking for other accredited investors who want to invest with us. minimum is $50,000. We do have private placement memorandum, operating agreement, subscription agreement all set and ready for people that do want to review those and potentially look at going in on the deals with us. I know, I think they'll fill up pretty quick once we really start getting out there. I wanted to get this thing done with and wrapped up, and like the chunk that we're bringing, we're going to raise. One of the deals needs $1.5 million. The other deal needs $1.5 million. If we get the third deal, it'll be $1.5 million. So, we'll be looking to raise anywhere from $3 million up to, $4.5 million for those deals. And so, obviously with the chunk that we're putting in, there's still going to be a lot of room left for some other investors to basically, get some benefit in real estate, cash flow producing real estate along with us. And we're looking forward to that.